Hello! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Artemis, and tomorrow I am going to a convention. And I'm gonna try to do some closet cosplays / thrift flips by tomorrow. I've got a couple things that I want to do, and instead of, not procrastinating or not stressing myself out by also trying to make this into a video, I decided that I would record the chaos and take y'all along. My two projects are going to be Ellie Sattler from Jurassic Park. I picked up a couple pieces from the thrift store recently. Two of them I have to dye, one of them I just have to cut and hem. And then the second project that I'm going to be working on is the guide from What We Do in the Shadows. I just got a black dress that I think would look perfect. So that one's going to be the closet cosplay. I have most of the pieces ready, however, I do need to try to make her hat. So that'll be what I'll be doing for that. And I have like 24 hours for all of this. Yeah, so let's get started. First off, no, I do not know what to do with my hair. I got a haircut and I don't know. I don't know what to do. If you have any style tips or advice, please let me know, but please be nice. First off, what I actually have, for Ellie Sattler, I went ahead and I bought this undershirt, which I stuck into the pot without even thinking about it to make sure I had enough water, so it is soaking wet right now. But it is, why is it dyed already? Apparently there's a little bit of black still in there. It's mostly polyester. Well, it's about 37% polyester, so I did go ahead and grab a synthetic purple dye to try to get the color. I think I'm also going to add, I have some blue cotton dye to try and balance it out because the shirt is really just blue-purple. Bluish purple, indigo? I don't know. Okay, I did replace the water, so yeah. First step, change your shirt so you don't ruin your good shirts while you're dyeing fabric. Stick. Very sick. I also plan to try and take this slow and add a little bit, test the color, and see if it works. So yeah, I don't know, let's try. Oh god. Oh. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Oh my god, that's so blue. Okay, it's fine. Oh.
Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob!
I think it needs a smidge more purple. I also do not know how this will work combining two different types of dye. Yeah! Oh. Alright, that's where we're at. Let's see what happens. That's a lot of purple. I actually ended up going back and adding in a bunch more blue dye once I had the shirt in the bath. Alright, it was looking way darker than I wanted it to, so I did kind of panic and take it out after about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna rinse it out and see where we're at, and if I need to re-dye it, go from there. Alright, so the shirt seems to have come out a really perfect color. I'm really happy with it, and it looks like it's pretty consistent throughout, so I don't have to dye it again. So now I'm just gonna dye this. Hopefully a nice pink color. I thought I would need to add some of the wine color to make it a little less pink, but I don't think I'm gonna need to. So I'm gonna get this wet, throw it in there, and see what happens. Oh my goodness. So the overshirt actually came out a perfect shade of pink too. However, there was this little logo on the front that was embroidered on that I wanted to remove. I tried using the seam ripper to remove it. Don't do that. It was a bad idea. I ended up ripping a hole in the actual shirt itself. Luckily, it was a pocket on the front, so I thought maybe I could just remove the pocket itself, flip it over to hide the hole that way. I tried using the seam ripper the fancy way. I made more holes in my shirt. So went back to using the seam ripper, just each seam at a time. Yeah, so I thought I could take the pocket, flip it over because the design did not go through all the way and there was another backing there. However, I just completely ran out of time. So I did not do that and I moved on to the shorts. I got these capris at the thrift store that I was going to go ahead and cut. So what I did is I actually marked about where I wanted it to be on the inseam, measured that across to the other side, and then I read somewhere in some website once that the inseam should be about 1.5 inches lower than the outer seam. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just measuring 1.5 inches down from that original mark and then connecting that lower inseam to the outer seam mark. That's where I ended up cutting it, and it worked pretty well. I tested out the length, both as is and rolling it up to make sure it would work. Then I went ahead and just cut it out on the other side. For sewing the shorts, I did a very small hem with a zigzag stitch to try to help with fraying. And then I went ahead and rolled it up again once more. I did a straight stitch across in order to create that folded look. I don't know if that's overkill. I don't know if just a single straight stitch would have worked. But if it did, it would have been so much easier because, of course, my sewing machine was not cooperating. I think it might have been a tension issue. I might have also had the wrong needle type in there. If you know why this is happening, please let me know. I would really appreciate the advice. But I did eventually get it done, and then with a little bit of extra time, I went ahead and I 3D printed a Raptor claw, like the one that Grant has. And it actually came out really sharp. I was very surprised. Alright, so moving on to the guide. Woo! I got this hat. It's like a newsboy hat. I think I picked it up from Five Below. Oh, you have so much dirt on your snoot. So much dirt on your snoot. So much. Hell yeah. And I was able to just open up the seam and take out that front part, the visor part, and that just left me with a pretty good shaped hat for the guide. I was pretty happy with how it was turning out, but I know in some of the episodes her hat is very square, so I wanted to go ahead and use some cardboard to try and help define that shape. So first try, I cut some cardboard. It was too small. What? Alright, I guess I'm gonna make it bigger. I ended up cutting a 7x7 cardboard cutout, and I think it works. It doesn't sit on my head as well, but I think it helps give the shape that she has. I ended up using the wig that I had bought for my I ended up using the wig that I had bought for my Hannah Alexander Moth cosplay. I'll put that video up here. But last I used the wig, I had made it into a ponytail and I had attached a bow, so I needed to undo all of that. It was the perfect style, color, and length, and I was so happy that I could just reuse that instead of trying to find something new. So the last issue was actually trying to figure out how to get the hat to stay on. First thing, I needed to re-sew that one seam back together where I had pulled out the visor part. And then for keeping the hat on, I actually just sewed it to a headband, marked it out, sewed it up with a couple stitches, and it stayed on phenomenally. Like, it worked perfect. And now it's time for the reveal! So GalaxyCon this year was 4 days, and I went all 4. I think it was the first time they were doing 4 days in the city. I had a ton of fun. I love GalaxyCon. A lot of people I know don't love GalaxyCon. They've had an issue the past couple times with major overcrowding, especially on Saturday. And it looked like this year they might have gotten it a little bit under control. Fingers crossed it stays like that forever, because I know a lot of people who just didn't go because Saturdays were so packed.
More than I do about Doctor Who.
We've only got 200 cats in this small luxury line. I brought my family.
It's got the colleges here, and it's got a cool museum, some great little neighborhoods and food. I love it.
You'd be surprised to know, everyone. Caven, that's just his natural accent, everyone. So you're going to be hearing it throughout the panel.
Yes.
Yeah. Caven, Harvey, first of all, thank you for being here in Richmond. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I looked at that and I was like, no, there's 3 different endings.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many of you guys knew that.
Let's fly way up to the clouds. Oh, come round and round. We can. I was one of the lucky ones. My parents supported me.
Let's see, make them family.
Got feelings for him. I don't know what that means, but. Quack. Okay, that makes more sense. I understand. Okay.
Carol was an amazing man, and I would like to think that he would have loved this.
Overall, one of my favorite parts of GalaxyCon is their after dark programming. So like after 10 p.m. they usually switch over to a lot of 18+ only content. You can buy alcohol, just wander around this giant convention center, and see a bunch of weird shit, and it makes me so happy to just wander around with a bunch of nerds. At one point, I saw Ash Ketchum, I pointed it at him, and he gave me a Pokemon card. Like, this is the stuff I live for. They also had wrestling this year. 10/10. 100% my favorite thing I've ever seen at GalaxyCon. So much fun, and I can't wait to see it again. There was also Drunk Mario Kart, so you just had to finish your drink before you started playing. I think most activities and venues, except for the dealer's hall, obviously were open until 2 a.m. I love GalaxyCon at night. Oh, also my other favorite thing, the thing I live for, is emo night. Just going, screaming, belting out these songs with a bunch of nerds. Incredible experience. Top tier. I love it so much. And just like that, GalaxyCon came to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and you subscribe to see the next one.